Good evening, everyone. I'm Wendy Blythe, Chair of the Federation of Cambridge Residents Associations, FeCRA, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our 2022 AGM and Cambridge for Sale, Who's Buying event. To avoid background noise, everyone except the speaker will be on mute by default. As I said at last year's AGM, the growth agenda is being pursued by government, big business, universities, colleges and property developers working together continue to pose challenges to quality of life in and around Cambridge. There are stories about this on a daily basis, along with the growth agenda connections with global business, sovereign wealth funds, and foreign states with human rights issues. When one looks into the membership of the many review bodies considering these plans, the same names representing vested interests come up again and again. Potential conflicts of interest arise, for example. Should we be comfortable that Cambridge University is contributing to the funding of the Greater Cambridge Shared Planning Service? And some of these involvements, particularly those involving overseas investors, are not transparent, as Ian Williams will talk about later. The growth arcs impacting Cambridge and East Anglia were shown in this slide, shared by the Director of Greater Cambridgeshire Planning Service at an online Oxfam ARC event. He said, "This is not the only arc we face. There is one going to London, one going to Norwich, and one up to Peterborough and beyond." Residents are asking, who funded the research supporting these arcs, and has it been peer reviewed? Many residents are shocked at the high level of growth proposed in the new draft local plan and what they see as the plan's failure to consider the overall environmental capacity and climate change impact. Water supply and sewage are particular concerns. The Environment Agency describes Cambridge as an area of serious water stress and states that water abstraction needs to be significantly reduced. How will yet more water be supplied to meet the planned growth in demand? Water Resources East, the entity set up by Anglian Water, has just published their draft regional plan. It will need careful scrutiny. The local sewage system is currently inadequate, with frequent sewage spills by smaller Anglian Water sewage works into the Cam Valley. Yet there are currently no plans to improve these, just promises to monitor them more accurately. Meanwhile, Anglian Water is proposing to move the main Cambridge sewage works, which has been upgraded and has sufficient capacity until 2050, into the Greenbelt, and to spend at least $227 million public money to do so. The government recently announced that the land use framework for England will be published in 2023. The Food Farming and Countryside Commission hosted meetings at Cambridge University to discuss a pilot land use project in Cambridgeshire with developers, Cambridge University, Cambridge Ahead, councillors, water companies, landowners and NGOs, but no community groups were invited. Residents of Cambridge and wider Cambridgeshire have expressed many concerns about the impact of the proposed congestion charge on those travelling to the hospital, the elderly, low-paid workers in the city, amongst others, and are sceptical that claimed improvements in bus services will be adequate. They ask why the Greater Cambridge Partnership plans to spend £200 million on off-highway bus routes, such as Cambourne to Cambridge, through the Greenbelt, rather than improving existing bus services. Another concern is the decline in Cambridge's traditional market. Is it being allowed to deteriorate to facilitate the redevelopment of the city centre as an event location, generating income for the council and its business partners? FeCRA's strength is in the network of members in many city neighbourhoods, plus strong contacts in nearby villages and the citywide connections with community, cultural, heritage and environmental groups. Supportive networks of neighbours and friends are a valuable community asset and an essential part of a city's wealth. Cambridge residents have a tradition of problem solving and reaching out to strangers and those in need. Drop into St. John's Church, Hills Road on 19th of November. You'll get a warm welcome and enjoy delicious Ukrainian food. Mums for Ukraine are raising money for this small charity started by RA members, give practical help to the women and mums coming here to Cambridge as Ukrainian refugees. Support and welcome the Ukrainian community in Cambridge is mostly via the hosting scheme. But with so many of the initial 6-month periods coming to an end, the charity says what is urgently needed are more people who could consider hosting. These are mothers who've come here and have now found jobs and made the start on getting their children settled in schools here in Cambridge. Children in huge need of security and reassurance after worlds have been turned upside down. Public realm and environmental issues continue to be key issues for residents' associations and community groups. On the 19th of August 2022, the beautiful silver maple tree on St. Matthew's Street was unexpectedly and suddenly fenced off and rumoured to be felled, supposedly due to being dangerous. St. Matthew's local residents group quickly rallied round and maintained a 3-day vigil to guard this lovely tree. The threat turned out to be caused by an error by the County Council Transport Department contractor's subcontractor. Residents nevertheless remained concerned to protect this tree, which lies a few feet outside the Mill Road Conservation Area, so petitioned for tree preservation order. Although they didn't achieve that, their action has secured a favourable outcome for all residents' associations because they've obtained information about how to get alerts about threats like this to loved community assets. West Chesterton wasn't so lucky. Exhausted residents finally accepted defeat after a long 8-day vigil to prevent the levelling of the Milton Road Highworth roundabout's wildlife site. The roundabouts sycamore, ivy, cotoneaster with its berries, Philadelphus, holly, cornus and wild roses were felled to make way for the GCP's improvement works to deliver its agenda for buses, pedestrians and cyclists on Milton Road. A trusted citywide email distribution list run by residents for residents who have good contacts to other groups which can cascade things on to more people is a useful thing to have if you're a local council wanting to share information with local residents. For whatever reason, this didn't happen with the plans to line the bank of the River Cam at Sheep's Green with a gold-coloured metal artwork at a cost of up to £250,000. The river bank at Lammasland, with its informal green spaces with their kingfishers, swans and ducks, is loved by the whole of Cambridge. Consequently, many residents and community groups across the city objected to the proposals on the grounds that a riverbank in a water meadow was an inappropriate setting and that it was wrong to spend this money in an already privileged part of the city, which doesn't need to be compensated for the development activity taking place elsewhere. The consultation report makes it clear that the overwhelming response was negative, and we're delighted that the council listened to the views of residents and decided to cancel the project. The Friends of Cherry Hinton Brook say Cherry Hinton Brook and the lakes adjacent to it encapsulate many of the issues facing Cambridge, such as overdevelopment, chalk stream abstraction, and protecting wildlife and avoiding disturbance or damage to habitats, but also a real opportunity for regeneration and the chance for an important wildlife corridor to be a valuable nature reserve. And in the Cam River corridor, biodiversity and wildlife in Paradise Nature Reserve, seen in our Eventbrite posting, are under threat from Queen's College plans to build more student accommodation in the garden immediately adjacent to it. With over 200 letters of objection and a petition signed by more than 2,000, there is overwhelming opposition to the plans, which residents hope will be refused by councillors when it goes to Planning Committee on the 7th of December. More generally, there is a need for a landscape strategy for Cambridge and the Cam, driven not by investors with so-called regeneration projects or university or other developers, but a strategy that involves local people who understand the importance of the river to Cambridge.